Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another video episode on ForgottenWeapons.com. Today we're taking a look at a very interesting Civil War era repeating rifle. This is specifically an Evans rifle. Let's see if we can get the patent in focus there. Now what makes this gun really interesting is actually its magazine system. This has a helical tube sort of magazine in the buttstock. We have a little loading port there for loading it up, and it will hold this whole section all the way up here is all magazine, and this will actually hold 34 cartridges in it. And like I said, it's a helical sort of mechanism. So every time you cycle it, you can watch this piece here rotate just like that. Every time you cycle the gun, it spins like a barber pole and pushes another cartridge up into position. Got a little dust cover over the action there. Hammer is internal. Now there are some problems with this magazine. It's more like a conveyor belt than a typical spring-loaded magazine that we would normally think of. So it works great. If you load it up, you got 34 rounds and you can fire them all off in very rapidly. But the problem is when you go to reload, you have to work the lever one time to load each cartridge. And each cartridge occupies a specific slot in the magazine. So if you just want to load one and fire it from the magazine, you have to load it and then cycle the action 33 times before you get to the cartridge. Same thing if you reload it. If there's 5 empty spaces in the mag, you'll have 5 times you'll have to cycle blank. So the very first model of this, only about 500 were made. And the first models didn't actually have a lower buttstock. The receiver was the bottom of the stock there. So this is a transitional model. They added the buttstock, made a few other improvements, improved the dust cover on it. And about 1,600 of these were made. They were tested by the US Army. They were found to be, well, the Army found them to be heavy, cumbersome, and unreliable. Although frankly, this feels fairly light to me. I expect it gets quite a bit heavier when you stuff 34 rounds in the buttstock. There was also a final late model, or new model, that was made where one of the complaints about the rifle had been its lack of ballistic power. So they actually revised the cartridge, made it about 50% longer, quite a bit stouter. The early cartridge, it was the short 44, pushed a 220 grain bullet at about 850 feet per second. So you can think of that as basically equivalent to 45 automatic. The longer version in the new model bumped that up to a 280 grain bullet at about 1,200 feet per second. So quite a bit more powerful. And the new version as a result could only in quotes there, hold about 28 rounds in the magazine because obviously they took up more space. So overall, these were the manufacture of the very first one started in 1873. Manufacture continued up until about 1880, at which point the company went out of business, having failed to get any military contracts. So, very cool gun. Thank you guys for watching, and tune in again to ForgottenWeapons.com for more interesting early repeaters.